by the incomparable, the legendary Angelica Conti. And we cannot wait to basically recap the entire season. Lots of things to ask her, lots of things to get into. So let's not waste any time. Let's just get into it. This is Strat Chat.
Are you guys kidding
always.
me?
What, you like that?
I loved it. Oh my God.
Oh, well, thank God.
I have to tell you too.
Thank you so much.
I make a point. I make a point to say this every time we talk to somebody too, because everyone always loves that little opening. And Kyle did the whole video opening, but his brother actually wrote the song that we use in that opening.
Dude, I love that.
Yeah. It's a family affair here at Strat Chat. So I am Kyle Petty, and I am joined, of course, by my forever faithfuls, John Dunphy and Gina Morgino. And of course, Angelica is here with us. This is Strat Chat, your favorite reality TV podcast. Presumptuous, we know. You can find us on the socials at Strat Chat Pod or on our website at stratchatpod.com. Okay, now that we got all that out of the way, we just want to have a very casual conversation with our friend Angelica. We have a number of questions for you, and we have some pals of the pod who asked some questions too. Now, some of them are double ups. So, you know, we gave them the credit for it, even if, like, you know, maybe we would have asked it anyway. I would love to kick off with something super fun. Well, first of all, no, I'm gonna backtrack. Let's go back. How was your day? How are you today? Are you having a nice time?
Me?
Of course.
I see John and Gina all the time.
My day was great. I had a great day.
Good.
I had my wedding dress fitting, so that was super exciting.
Awesome.
Yeah, and I'm just like so excited to be here. Thank you so much for having me.
Oh my gosh.
Thank you
for
for coming.
To come see us. Yeah. When is the wedding?
March 25th, so 2 months.
Ooh.
Oh, wow.
Really soon.
Yeah. I know.
Is it going to be here in New York, or what are you doing?
No, it's going to be in Jamaica. We're doing Montego
Oh,
Bay.
wow.
Destination wedding.
That's so exciting.
Yeah.
Oh, we love it.
Yeah.
All right, we're going to turn on post notifications to make sure we see all those pictures. Thank God. Okay, so listen. First silly ass question, right? We need some context around this moment. Okay.
Starting off with a bang, I see.
Yes, we had to start off with a bang because this is
gosh.
everything. This was the morning you were to find out that you were put on trial. But first, before that, Kate had some words for you. You were just sitting in the middle of this, so like
I was like, I literally say, wait, what'd you just say? Because that is one of hundreds of comments that Kate made to Rachel. So
I'm sure.
I was just so used to it at this point. They actually didn't show any of me and Kate's relationship.
Oh,
we
really?
were like this in the castle.
Oh, wow.
But by the time we were on trial, I was like the only person Kate was speaking to.
Oh
Like,
my gosh.
yeah. So during that moment, I remember it clear as day. It was the first thing I told my fiance and my cousin Thomas when I got home. I was like, you don't even understand, just to give you an insight on how Kate was towards Rachel. And I explained that moment. Yeah, there was like no context. Like there was no reason Kate said that.
Because even like from us as observers, we were watching it and it just seemed so out of pocket. Like out of
No,
nowhere,
it
she was
was.
like, "And your outfit sucks," and we were like, "What?"
And like I wouldn't wear that, so I don't exactly trust your judgment.
Right.
Like it felt like it came out of left field, and like it's even funnier to know that. Well,
It did.
it did.
Yeah, it really came out of nowhere. And so it's funny because what I don't think they showed this, but so Kate then, so Rachel goes, yeah, well, Kate, I don't like your vest. And she says, oh, it's Princess Diana also.
Princess Diana.
Yes,
then-
as if she is like the end all. Like,
Oh my
And
gosh.
then Rachel, in person, Rachel actually goes, actually, Kate, I can't even say that because I actually really do like your vest and I would wear it.
no, they did not. I don't think they did. I don't think they did.
No,
was-
they
that's
definitely
great.
did not add that.
Woman, like took back that comment and was like, I actually love your vest and I would totally wear it.
That's so funny.
Oh my
Honestly,
God.
this moment, and like, we are all enormous Big Brother fans, so like we love Rachel Riley. But
Mhm.
coming in, we really didn't know Kate. You know, I feel like I was familiar with her just from seeing her in commercials and stuff like that, whatever. But like, I feel like this moment, like two like reality TV titans, and yet what made it for me was like you being stuck in the middle.
Just ping-ponging back and forth, like, where am I?
You see me eye up Rachel's outfit. I literally, Kate says this. I look at Rachel and you see my eyes go up and follow her outfit all the way down because I'm just processing. Like, I can't even get over that she just said that.
It was so perfect. Like that
Oh
whole
my
moment was
gosh.
just so great.
Yeah, it really was,
That was
a great
amazing.
moment. And and I listened to your podcast that you recorded on covering the episodes, and something you said
Yikes.
that also like sort of includes this moment in is that production does not tell us where to sit for breakfast at all.
Oh, that's
I
fun.
love that.
Coincidental that we were sitting in a row like that. Like you can choose wherever you
Yeah.
A happy accident. I love that even more.
That's
Oh,
amazing. Which
Yeah.
now it makes me want to go back and rewatch so many moments because I cannot understand then why. And who knows what breakfast entrance this was, right? But obviously Cody coming in as a traitor is walking behind everybody. Excuse me. It's like to get all the way to like the last chair, and it's like, why did y'all do this to him? Like, who did this? Like, shouldn't it just be whoever came in first, just take the first seat? Like, that's what my OCD tells me. All right,
Right.
everybody just come in and sit down. So it's like, oh no, this must be assigned seats because why wouldn't you just take the
Yeah.
other seat? Like, I would just walk
No.
in and immediately be annoyed. Like, who left that open?
Yeah. Everybody just sort of sat wherever they wanted for breakfast. Like sometimes you sit with your friends, sometimes you try to sit with other people to like, attempt to talk game
I guess
because
to mix things up too. You don't
yeah,
want
like
sauce.
the breakfast was an important point for us because it's when we were allowed to talk game because we were filming. We were constantly being yelled at, we can't talk game while we're not filming, while the cameras aren't rolling. So breakfast was a long period of time where we were able to sit and talk game. So you'd want to like mix up your seat every day and like sit near new people every day. So that's why some people would go out of their way to sit in certain seats.
Okay. Okay, that makes very good sense to me.
Mm.
I like
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
Okay. How long was breakfast?
I would say like a solid hour and a half to 2 hours.
Ooh,
Wow.
that's why there were no eggs on the table.
Yeah.
Stone cold.
See, that's-
Stone
yeah.
cold. Where did you get your protein? Oh, I saw with pastries. And toast.
That's interesting.
We had like the meat and cheese boards had meat on it. So we had like prosciutto and salami and like,
Mm.
Prosciutto and salami. What time is breakfast?
It was early. We would get to the castle at like 7 a.m. and
Wait,
Yeah.
is salami at 8? Oh no.
Initial
Salami
charcuterie
at 8.
moment. You're not on board.
That's way too early for salami.
what I would do is I would make myself gourmet toast. I think in one scene you see me literally like drizzling the honey on the toast. I would do like cheese and honey with like, and I would shred the prosciutto and like put it on a piece of toast and have like coffee. That's what I'd have every day.
So you were a fancy
Okay.
lady. Did you have a
Yeah.
microwave so you could nuke it and like melt the cheese down or something? Or was this just like this cold cheese or cold bread?
yeah.
Or we didn't even have a crunch. What was the texture?
Oh my god.
The really important questions.
Yeah.
Yeah, there was no crunch.
They are important questions. Okay, we're hungry.
The lunch
We need
was
to know-
great. They didn't show any lunch. They showed some
No, what was
dinner.
lunch? What would you have for lunch?
We would have so like 2 hours after breakfast. That's when they would bring the lunch out. So like you were like hungry, but you sort of just ate breakfast. But
It wasn't real because you had no protein.
Yeah, the lunch, it was a lot of vegetarian vegan, so there wasn't a lot of protein.
Oh.
Okay.
I think I would have an egg salad wrap every day for lunch.
An egg
Okay.
salad
We
wrap.
had like a huge wrap platter, and like sides and stuff, and hummus and vegetables, and yeah. So
You know,
I don't know about
it's
that.
really interesting. It's really interesting to me to hear you say that like breakfast would be like an hour and a half to 2 hours long, because I had seen an interview that actually Kate did, and somebody asked her like how long were the round tables, and she said that the round
3
tables were
hours.
like 2 to 3 hours long, and it was
Whoa!
funny to hear because I assumed obviously that they were longer than what we were seeing, but like what was funny was that like there were moments watching the show where like if the round table was 5 minutes long, you know, if even that, I'd be like, all right, let's get to these votes now because like this is getting really intense. But so to think that like these conversations were actually way longer than that, like we're saying 5 minutes, but they're like all the discussion about who's voting for who and everything. I can't even imagine how intense and how long like these roundtables felt.
If they released the footage, I think that would be a show in itself. Literally just hour-long footage of each of the roundtables.
Oh,
like
I would watch every second.
Yeah, so would I. So would
you
I.
have no idea what would go on at these tables. Like it was crazy. It was
Can
literally.
we start a petition for like live
Right.
feeds of the Traitors?
Truly, like we are live feeders for Big Brother. Give me all the content they got. Like I'll take it all.
Yeah.
I need to know. I need to know. But now, wait. So if a round table was 2 to 3 hours, right? And we already know this was in the nighttime hours.
Mhm.
What did y'all eat for dinner? What's going on? Some chicken, please.
Yeah, they would cater. So okay, so the first night we were there, they gave us chili cheese fries.
What?
And now, like everyone's stomach already is like a little rough. Like you're in like
Of course it is.
in a location that nobody's really ever been before.
You're
The water's
nervous. You've been knocked
High
around.
stress,
from that
yeah.
train.
like high stress. Everybody's going to. So the chili cheese fries did not go over well with the reality stars. And there was a really, really, really like big, huge, like screaming match about the chili cheese fries. And so then from there on out, after that, it was like gourmet catered, like hot dinner that would like be spread all over the breakfast table. And we had like all these options and they changed it up every night. It was like a different like food category every night. And the food was great after that.
Because the stars would not have it.
Yeah, the chili cheese fries did not go over well.
I would not.
Can I jump off of this question then? Actually, because we mentioned the reality TV stars, right?
Mhm.
So I'm just curious because in Australia and in the UK, the casts were all newbies. They weren't influencers or reality TV stars. So this question that I had was just like, were you happy that there were reality TV celebs / influencers in the game, or would you have preferred like a full group, all newbies? Just curious.
That's a great question. While there, I was very excited about the reality stars, but I only had known like prior to the show, Ari, Cody, and Rachel. Cody and Rachel because of Big Brother, and Ari because I am a part of Bachelor Nation. So other than that, I didn't even know a single person's name, nothing. And we actually had Fire Sticks in our room, like Amazon Fire Sticks. And I was one of the only people that didn't go back at night and like look up these other people, which now, like in hindsight, I probably should have. But I didn't want to.
That's so interesting that you could have done that.
Right. I didn't want to like a preconceived notion like of them. I wanted to like make my own judgments from like what I was seeing in front of me. But like realistically, I probably should have been like doing my research. But so I think I was happy about it filming, and now the aftermath, I do wish that it was all regulars, I think.
Okay.
Yeah.
So would you like to take another stab at this game? You get it, stab, murder, stab. I'm just really proud of myself. I just want to make sure you guys are too. Yeah. Would you ever play this game again?
I would play this game 10 times over. Like literally, I loved playing this game. I loved it.
Excellent.
Yeah.
That's awesome to hear.
Oop, go ahead.
I'm just gonna say that's awesome to hear because, like Kyle said, this is a game that he would love to play even more than like any other game. This is the type of game that I would love to play. So I love this type of like murder mystery sort of thing.
Oh, yeah.
So to hear somebody that's played the game be like, "Oh, I would play it again over and over," is like, okay,
Yeah.
it just sort of validates.
I'm only speaking for myself, definitely, because a lot of people really struggled playing this game. It's so funny because I almost feel like the heaviness of it, and I almost feel that the heaviness of the game and actually playing it sort of got lost in translation because of the production vibe, like the Alan Cumming, like actor and like music, and you almost feel like watching it. I hope I'm making sense. I almost feel like watching it because of the dramaticness takes away from actually
Like it comes across like campier.
Yeah, like it was really mentally draining, and I feel like that doesn't come across the screen. I just feel like it looks like a fun game and like very production-y and like
Yeah, and I have to say, I also feel like that is what has come through in this American version of this game. Before we started recording, we told you that we had watched Australia and UK, and I will say that watching those other ones, you did get that a little bit more. And if you're interested, stay after we stop recording. We have a way that you can watch the Australian version without a VPN. Okay, we do have the secrets. Our pals at the podcast, and they reached out and they said, "Hey, here's a link. And it's commercial free. You'll love it.
Amazing.
You'll
really
get to
great.
see it played in a different way, because Traitors UK absolutely mirrored what you all did. Like the challenges were the same, slightly altered, like slight changes, but everything was basically the same. Australia played very differently. Maybe not very, but enough.
I've heard that. Yeah,
you'll find it intriguing.
I totally agree because it's like it's the same enough but different enough that it'll feel sort of new, but like it's still the game that you really loved like playing. So
and I'd be very curious to see what you thought of that. Well, now we'll just have to have you back. So sorry.
I also will say I agree with you with like some of that emotional stuff not coming through. I do think there were a couple of players that it came through for at least a little bit. Like I feel like you could really tell that Andy, they really were having a tough time, and that came through a little bit.
Cody was struggling. Like me and Cody were pretty close in the castle, and the 2 days leading up to him being banished and revealing himself as a traitor, he was falling apart, and like so were everybody else. So I very dumb of me, but I didn't associate with that he was falling apart because he was a traitor. I just thought he was falling apart for the same reasons we were all falling apart. But he was like really struggling, like mentally.
I was really surprised to see how emotional he was upon his exit.
It was nothing. I think he was expecting it to be just as mentally hard as Big Brother, and it was not for him. At least that's what he said. So it was very different. He was struggling.
Well, that's interesting. And I would love to dive a little bit into that. Obviously, because Cody is not unfamiliar to us. And you did mention that you were sort of familiar to him. So like, how did some of your prior relationships with some of these people affect how you played this game? Or did it?
Yeah, I do think it did. I don't think me and Cody would have been as close as we were, because we were very close. If we didn't have that, like, I don't know if maybe it was like a New York, New Jersey type of connection that we were feeling, or if it was that I was Tommy Bracco's cousin, and just a few weeks prior to me going on the show, like they went out together and I was actually supposed to meet them out, and I had never met Cody in person prior to the show, but we had like that like homey connection.
Right.
So, but I didn't have that on the show with Rachel. I now have that off the show with Rachel.
Oh, I love that.
I didn't have that on the show with Rachel. Yeah,
Okay.
but like I said, it's because me and Kate were so close, and Rachel
Sure.
was on opposite sides of the room.
Yeah, that checks out.
Yeah, absolutely. And unfortunately, I feel like that there's two directions we can go with this conversation, because I have two questions that bring us two different places. So bookmark this moment so that when I dial back to it, no one thinks I'm crazy. All right. So the first thing, so the first thing I really want to know is more around your relationship with Kate. How did it form? What was it? And what did you think of her behavior when she was tossing $600 just to and fro like it's just nothing? Like, how did you feel about that? Especially when you're
Wow.
trying to push those armory barrels up the hill, right? Like, there was a
Yes.
lot going on in that episode. How did Angelica feel?
So her throwing the money away was legitimately for me. So it was
Ooh.
vocalized that morning. So we got put on trial,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm like an emotional wreck. I'm like, I'm done playing this game. Send me home now. Like because I just
curtains
knew
for me, curtains.
I knew the second we got that letter and the 3 names that were on it, I knew that I was being murdered. I just knew it. It just made sense to me.
Yeah, I'm sorry. We said the same thing. I was like,
and
sorry, she's new. She's new
as
here.
did everybody else. So
Yeah,
right
sucks.
away, Kate said, I know, like out loud to the breakfast table, like, I know the traitors. I know their plan. I know you're thinking you're going to murder Angelica tonight. I'm telling you right now, I don't want to be here, and she does. So I will cost you from this moment on. I will cost you so much money that you have no choice but to murder me.
Oh my God.
So she said, I'm going to unplug whatever I need to unplug. I'm going to sink whatever ship I need to sink. I'm going to throw away dollar bills in order to save her. And I want to go home.
That's
I'm
incredible.
like,
Wow.
yeah. So that whole stunt. So like, I'm like rolling the armory battle, and everyone's like getting really mad at Kate. And I'm just like, I didn't think her plan was going to work. I said to her, I said, you're just going to look like more of a traitor. The traitors are going to just keep you here even more so because of that. And that's how it happened.
Right.
But she tried. She did. And I think after that, she did get a little more into the game. So that was good.
Mhm.
Yeah, she definitely did.
Yeah,
But
that
yeah,
was the
at
beginning of
point,
her spiral.
right. Kate and Rachel, and like as you watched, like you can see the traitors saying it. Like Kate and Rachel just became such great shields for them that it was like, but it's really cool to hear about some of these relationships that you formed, because
like I said, me and Kate were very close. It started early on. We had like this little dynamic where like Brandy was my show mother and like Kate was my show sister, and like we had our little family. Like Brandy was mom.
Yeah,
I love that.
We're the sisters, and like it just we just stayed pretty close after that.
Yeah,
I think that's so good.
Could I ask you another question about another relationship?
Yeah.
This is one of our questions over here, actually. So, and this is actually a moment where I feel like some of what we were talking about before, some of like that emotion that's kind of got lost in the production. But this is a moment where I felt like it kind of came out for you, and like seeing this sort of stuff, I think is what made you like a fan favorite. Like, is that like your relationship with Azra and her banishment? That was a very emotional point for you in the game. So, like, what about this relationship, and like how close had you come, and like how tough really was this for you? Like, did you feel like the edit showed like an honest reaction from you on this?
Yes, I do. It definitely, it felt longer in real life. And I was so embarrassed to walk back in that room because I felt so bad because Shelby enters and I just start hysterical crying of disappointment. And me and Shelby were close. So I like felt so bad about that. And I had to remove myself because Azra, like when I say Azra was my person, like I said, this game was very heavy mentally and you couldn't really trust anyone. Azra, I had 100% trust in, not 99.9. I had 100% trust in Azra. And we were directly across from each other on the round tables. That is the round tables we had assigned seating for. And it stayed the same throughout the whole game. But me and Azra were directly across from each other, and every, round table, we just had each other's back, just would be like communicating, and like it was like a comfort thing. And we just like got each other, and there was just like a very strong connection there. So she had voice, after she spoke up at the round table. She was really upset that night, and she was like, I'm going to be murdered tomorrow. And I was like, no, you're not. And she was like, I'm going to be murdered tomorrow. This is it, if it's a reflection of my real life. Like, I finally speak up, I use my voice, and now I'm going to be punished for it. And that just like broke my heart. And so then to like really see that what she had communicated to me was what ended up happening, I was just like, my heart was broken for her. I was just devastated. So I was devastated for her because I couldn't imagine what she was feeling on being right with that. And then I was also destroyed for myself because now I don't have that comfort in this game.
Sure.
So, yeah, it was a tough one.
Wow. This game, it's wild.
You're telling me. Yeah. It really was.
I wish we got in the edit more of those like personal conversations too, because I feel like there was so much like focus put on the vote and on the murder and on the traitors meeting up and on the competitions, but we didn't really get a lot of the
like so much focus on the missions that ended up having no point in the end because they won $250,000 anyway.
But like I missed a lot of those personal connections to people and like how people were aligning with each other, competing against each other.
Right. And I feel like this show should be edited differently going forward. Are you familiar with The Mole?
Yes, I am.
So
the original Mole, I haven't watched the new one.
Oh, okay. Well,
okay.
I mean, the concept still being the same. Yeah. Like these challenges have a lot more weight to it, because these challenges meant something. Like who's trying to sabotage whatever. Whether you're a traitor or a faithful, you're still interested in adding money to the team pot. So
It's all the same prize pot. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't need all this focus on the challenge. Everyone wants to win because everyone wants that money at the end.
Yeah.
Nixay, all that.
Right.
I want more conversations. I want to know more of what's going on. After those bells sound and people go to bed, what's really happening? Like I want to see extra. Like, this show needs to be edited differently going forward.
Do you I'm curious, like as someone who played the game and did these missions and stuff, right? And like feeling like they didn't really have as much weight as you maybe thought in the moment, like actually competing in them, like. And I don't know if this would work, but like if you're broken up into groups, teams of 3 or 4 or something, like would you have like been happy being like, okay, like we're all earning this money, it's all going to the prize pot, but like what does matter in these missions is that the winning group, that whole group just gets a shield from banishment or something like that.
Our armory wasn't the first armory. They completely just didn't show a whole entire armory. There was an armory, and we thought that was going to be like almost essentially the point of being on the winning side for these challenges, because I don't remember if it was for, I don't remember what challenge it was for. It was either the second or the third. And Cody was on a team and their 4 people got put into the armory, and Cody had gotten the armory and he announced it at the breakfast table. I got the shields last night. So I thought that was going to be like a bigger thing of being on the winning side for the missions. But it wasn't. And it just sucked being on the losing team, even though it really didn't matter. Like that church, the church.
It looked so scary.
So scary.
We did not get one correct. And it sucked.
Yeah, that was a wild mission.
Yeah. And it sucked. I think we're just all, everybody that was on the show is like very much a gamer and competitive. And so the like sore loser in me hated that, but it really didn't matter. Yeah.
Okay.
Right, because it didn't get you anywhere. It didn't actually do anything, but it's still fun to have like a competition of sorts.
Yeah.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, so Cody got the first
Wow.
Which bizarre. Who Who would have thunk it?
Yeah.
So we have a couple of questions from some pals of the pod, if you don't mind. Actually, the first one coming from your cousin.
So supportive through this whole process. He literally is like my #1 fan.
That's so
hilarious.
sweet.
Which
I love
we
that.
we love. You know what? Actually, before we get to that, sorry, cancel. I want to know more about your podcast with Tommy. All right, so Tommy Bracco, obviously your cousin, right?
Yeah. Real talk we have together.
Real talk.
So
real talk. You know, we're familiar with Tommy from Big Brother, obviously, and obviously from his
and the challenge.
Yeah.
2 of our favorite shows.
I was getting there. I was leading up to it. I was giving a proper introduction.
I'm sorry.
From the challenge as well. Gosh.
I got excited. All right, I got excited.
So thrilled.
Oh my gosh.
So yeah. And obviously you have a podcast with him. Real talk. So like, tell us some things. What do you talk about on the Real Talk? What's real? And tell us all the things.
We're not half as professional as you guys. I mean, this is like, I feel like this is so legit. It started off talking about Big Brother. Then we were like, oh, let's do reality TV. Then we realized that I can no longer stomach any reality TV shows because I just feel like they're all so fake. So I'm being like such a princess and diva and refusing to watch them. So they're like, all right, well, now what are we going to talk about? So it just sort of turns into like life. And now it's like very much like the challenge, the Traitors. And, you know, Uncle Phil just texted to say, he's like, we should cover Stranger Things. I'm like, he's like
totally different vibe, but like
show that's not airing right now. Like
I love it.
He's ridiculous. But my uncle's very into the podcast, and me and Thomas are like, sure, whatever. Like we'll get to it. But we do want to start getting into it more. I think we're going to start videoing it and you know, having more of like the guests on. I love having the guests on. We just had Christian on our podcast, so like that was super fun. We have
Christian who?
From
the Traitors.
Yeah. So
who was a traitor.
Right, I'm sorry, there's a lot of Christians. All right. When you say Christian, I think of Christian
Big Brother.
from BB. Yeah, I think of BB23 Christian, who is my bae.
Yeah,
so I'm like, Christian. Right. No, we're talking about the Traitors. Sorry. Yeah. Not Christian Birkenberger. So sorry.
Yeah, we had Christian on. We're having Rachel and Michael on this week. So we're liking the whole guest thing.
I love
so
that.
I think that's the route we're going to go. Yeah.
Yeah, that's really fun. Great.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Very nice.
Wait,
you guys are all so cute. I remember watching like when Tommy was in the house, you guys all running his socials. I was like, I love them.
Yeah, Uncle Phil is like still chasing that high. He brought it up the other day. He's like, remember when we used to do the lives after like every episode of Big Brother?
Oh,
like,
I loved it.
Asking questions. He's like, we should do that for the podcast. I'm like, we're not doing Instagram live for the podcast. Like, we had a lot of fun with that when Thomas was in the house.
It was so fun to watch.
I think that's really cute. Yeah. Can you tell me what Uncle Phil's Twitter handle is?
So he one day comes to us and is like, we're like, you're going to get in trouble. Your Twitter's crazy. Like, you got to delete it. And he's like, okay, fine. So now he comes to us. He's like, I made an alias. I'm like, oh my God, great, amazing. So like, you can just like tweet like as you want, whatever, have these conversations. He goes, yeah, I go on my phone, Phil Bracco with 1 C.
Oh my God, it is him then.
So it is his
name. It's his name, and he took out 1 C.
No, because we got a question from him, and we were looking at it like, well, this can't really be him because he spelled his name wrong.
Right, it's misspelled.
Yeah.
And it's like, is this real? Is this not? And I was like, let me just ease into this. Let me just say,
he's a psycho.
That's incredible.
Like, could you imagine seriously telling someone like, oh, like I made like this undercover profile and it's your name with a letter missing?
That's
right.
So
is this him? Is this him?
I like that even more
now. Yes, Bracco with 1 C. Philip Bracco.
Wait, all right. Wait, hold on. So can we tell you the full story with this?
Oh my gosh.
Because this is actually really, really funny. I was like, because I'm like, I don't know what to take from this. I don't know if this is somebody being shady or if this is just like an older gentleman. Right? No shade, but you know it's different. You know they handle their socials different, right? How they communicate with us is different. So we have Philip Bracco coming in saying, "Did you do anything in a challenge to help your team win?" And I was like, we're not asking her that. That sounds mad shady. Like she's a non-contributor. Like, what the hell is that? Right. And the next comment was, that wasn't shown. And I'm like, this is giving me older man vibes. But it's also like,
No,
are you correcting yourself? I don't know what to do with this. Who is this man?
We were like, do we not share this question? I don't know what to do. Oh my God, they're being rude.
and like I know why he asked that because he knows exactly what he's getting at. So I know why he asked that, but it's just so funny that
oh my gosh. So can you please be the line leader and like lead us down? Like, what is this? What was the intention here? Where are we going? Tell us things.
He wanted me to talk about I guess he wanted me to talk about the first mission. He listens to you guys. Like he was sending, like even before you reached out, like he had been sending us like clips of like your podcasts. And so like
what?
Yeah. Yikes! So as the Australians would say, crikey! Like what?
Oh, I love that.
Yeah. So I didn't even know he asked this, but in reading it, I know what he's getting at because he was upset that something I did contribute wasn't shown.
Okay.
Oh, okay. So it's not shade. So we do support it.
He wants to give you your flowers.
Thank you, Uncle Phil. So please, Uncle Phil, Fresh Prince. Hey. Come on now.
Yeah, he's
so yeah, thank you, Uncle Phil. Tell us things.
He's funny, man. So what he was getting at was that the first mission, I would like to say that we won because of me. So where we had to tie the ropes.
Yes.
The ropes were like short and like this thick. So if you're tying a knot with something that by the time you get a knot on both ends, there's no rope left in the middle.
Right.
It's wet and you're rushing.
Right. Mm-hmm. So what I started to do was I was dunking the rope pieces, fraying the ends, and tying just 2 little ends.
Oh, very smart.
So we had a pile of rope left over this big, whereas the other team didn't even have enough rope and were struggling to find more rope because they weren't fraying the ends. So it really saved us like a ton of time and like a ton of rope. So I was proud of myself for that. And everybody was giving me the credit after. Everybody was like so proud of me, like coming up.
Thank you, Angelica.
Coming up with that. So, and I ended up telling them about that. So I'm assuming that's what he's referring to.
Good.
You see, and you know what? Like that, I love to hear something like that because while I loved a lot of these reality TV stars, like I loved Kate. I really started to love, some of the other reality TV stars that I wasn't super familiar with. But I think that that's where, like, you kind of miss out from not having a cast of people strictly that have never been on reality TV. Because what I remember from that competition with the Beasts was that Reza was screaming his head off and Michael had that argument. And that's what we got from that. But, like, I would have loved to see, like, all right, how are we going to figure this out? And then here comes Angelica with this great idea, getting it done. Yeah. But we didn't see that. Instead, we just saw a lot of Reza and Michael.
Yeah. And like that, like in itself, like it really wasn't even like I don't know. I didn't feel like it was that big of a deal. Like well, I guess they had to show it because it turns into that big of a deal because then the whole Geraldine, spread it. Yep. That's where all that came from. So I just feel like everybody was. So I don't know if you guys know this, but Geraldine was an alternate. So I just feel like everybody.
I had heard this,
Yeah, everybody was just after her from that. I feel like so it was like an easy excuse, like she started the rumor about Michael.
Right. Yeah, that's interesting. Too bad for Geraldine. Too bad for Geraldine.
Yeah. funny, Uncle Phil.
We
I
also
can't stand him.
Uncle.
I just
Thank God it's actually Uncle Phil.
That's
We're like,
so funny,
I don't
man.
want like a fucking troll coming in here, like getting at our girl. Like, we're not gonna have that. Like, I was like I was like a little nervous about this. So happy, so happy.
Fun fact: me and Uncle Phil were in the UK for a month. How I got on the Traitors was me and Uncle Phil were in the UK for a month for the Circle. We were going in to play Tommy.
Oh,
The
Yeah.
Circle.
So
that's
me and
to
him were
play
gonna-
Tommy.
Yeah, so me and Uncle
Oh
Phil
my
were gonna be
gosh.
like a duo catfishing as Thomas.
That's so fun.
Yeah.
So
And
what
then
happened?
That's really funny.
The Spice Girls ended up being available, so they
Oh.
trumped me and Uncle Phil.
I mean, they are the Spice Girls.
Yeah, very understandable. Very understandable.
If I had to be bumped from anything,
Yeah,
I would accept being bumped for the
For a
Spice,
Spice Girl, yeah. Mhm.
And it should also, now knowing that, listen, I'm a diehard Spice Girls fan. Okay, I have seen them not once, not twice, but 3 times a lady. Because I love the Spice Girls. Okay, I love the Spice Girls, and like I could not get through that season of The Circle. I watched maybe half of the premiere, and I was like, I don't understand how people watch this show, right? And then I tried to watch season 5 of The Circle because a lot of people talking to us on the Twitter saying that we got to watch this, and if you know anything about John and Gina, like they're not really ones to put anything out there for something we should watch, right? Like they kind of sit back. I'm like, let's watch this, and they're like, no, and I was like, maybe we should try The Circle. I'm like, I can't watch it.
That's
I
so
think
funny that you say that.
Gina loves The Circle.
The Circle is the one I want to be on. The Circle.
I think The Circle is awful, unwatchable, exhausting.
No.
Yeah, after I got home, I was like so salty that I like couldn't watch it after that. So I didn't even watch the Spice Girls season, but
I couldn't.
Maybe I should.
Even with my fandom of them. I can't do it. I really, really can't do it. It's a Circle.
That's so funny.
Sorry. So sorry. We do have a question from Pal the Pod here. If you were picked to be a traitor, would you want to be a traitor from the beginning, or would you have preferred to be recruited?
I think 100% recruited, because at that point you can place, like, you're able to play so honest in the beginning, and everybody at a certain point believes and knows you're faithful. So then if you were able to be recruited as a traitor, I think that's sick.
Yeah,
I love that.
Yeah, I would for sure want to be recruit.
Totally agree with that.
What about you guys? You feel the same way?
I don't know if I can handle being a traitor at all, especially after seeing like the way the finale played out. I was like, I'm not gonna be the one to do that. Not gonna happen.
Yeah, the only thing that I would worry about with myself if I was recruited is like, how noticeable would my change in behavior be? Would there be a change? Like if I'm a traitor from the beginning, maybe I've sort of gotten used to it. You know, we're all new to this game. Now I'm getting used to it. But I do see like the benefit of being a faithful all that time and then just becoming a traitor. Like I see the benefit, but for me personally, I'm just not sure if I would be able to hide that like now my status in this game has completely changed overnight and I have to like keep it together, but I know it's not the same. Like, I don't know.
Yeah, and everybody is really looking just for something. Like you don't know what to go off of, what the signs of a traitor are. So everyone's just like grasping at straws, trying to find some sort of flaw in someone. So yeah, I guess any change in personality would raise a ton of red flags.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's fair. I guess I had a question more like for Gina. So, but I already forgot like what it was. Well, you had said that, you know, you would want to be a traitor from the very, very beginning because you don't know how you would handle all these things coming forward. But like if it's happening at the end though, like would you still have those same feelings? Yeah.
No, my issue was seeing like how the finale played out and seeing that like if I were a traitor, what I would do to the people by like.
Right, but do you think it's a little bit different if you get to that point and like you were recruited halfway? Because now you can say to an Andy, right? You can say to an Andy, hey, it wasn't like this all along. This only started once we got to like, banishment 7 or 8. Does that change how you view that? Or like, yeah, because like you can kind of explain your position a little better.
No, that's fair.
Curious.
I don't know.
All right. Do you have any thoughts on that, Angelica? Like, if you came into it later, would that change your opinion?
Yeah, I do feel like you can use that in an argument to save the personal relationship. Like we still have a real relationship. I was a faithful for X amount of time. I just felt like I couldn't turn this down because I don't know how Faithfuls can win this game. Like, I think there needs to be another layer to it because well, you tell me, like with the Australian version and the UK version, do Traitors win?
We don't want to be spoilers. I mean, I guess in Australia that isn't what happened, and I guess in the UK, wait, how did that end? Because I feel like I watched everything in such a blur. Like the Traitors UK. That didn't.
I feel like. Yeah, if you're gonna watch the Traitors Australia, I feel like we can't tell you how it ended.
Okay.
because if I tell you, even without giving the name, if I just say like what happened, like you're gonna know who wins as you're watching.
Yeah, I just feel like the Traitors have such a leg up. So like I would just, for the purpose of thinking that that's my only chance to win the game, of course, like accept the recruitment.
It's just so interesting because like, they have the leg up once they get to the end, but the cards were definitely stacked against them leading up to that moment. So it's like, do you think it balances out, or do you think it?
I don't know though, because literally, if you're a traitor, as long as you're not an idiot giving things away, like if you're playing like pretty smart, like you never have to worry about being murdered ever. You only have to worry about one elimination, as opposed to everyone else worrying about 2 eliminations.
You say being an idiot, like, and I don't know. Like, I mean, there are so many easy ways to be seen as one when you're doing these banishments daily. Is it daily, or is there some time in between?
No, it's daily. The first episode was filmed over the course of 3 or 4 days, but then everything after that, it was just the one day. Like episode 2, 3, 4,
it's really
5,
rapid.
Yeah, it was start to finish, like 16-hour film days.
Like if that's the
case too, it doesn't really surprise me that like people are really grasping at whatever straws they could find, like the tiniest little changes. Like, well, now it's this.
Yeah,
right.
And that's why I feel like eliminating the chance that you could be murdered from the game is, I feel like, such an advantage.
Huge. Before we go down to breakfast, you're literally you don't know you're making it to breakfast or if you're murdered or not until you're literally walking down the stairs to knock on the door. So for 2 hours, you're sitting in a room with maybe 1 or 2 other of your castmates. And like, I mean, let's be real. I was hysterical crying every morning. Every morning, I'm like, this is the morning I'm getting murdered. Like, I'm going to say my goodbyes now. The morning I come down and I walk in with Suri and Ari, I had like a full-blown panic attack, like 10 minutes before I walk in that breakfast store. Because like for an hour and a half, I was just sitting there, like really thinking I wasn't going to make it down. And it could like just drive you up a wall. So to start your day and start your morning with that type of like roller coaster of emotion, because you're thinking you're not getting it and you're not going down to breakfast and that you're murdered. So you're devastated. And then you get to breakfast and you go on like a high, like you're just like drained by like the time you get to the mission.
Of course.
Yeah.
So the mental aspects really, like for Traitors, I think that in itself, like just going to sleep at night and waking up in the morning knowing you're making it down there.
Well, I'm so intrigued about that end of things, right? So you're walking into breakfast. You're saying you don't find out if you're murdered until that moment. So
Mhm.
those times that you're walking in with other people, did you already have that moment where like the letter would have been on the chair, and then you're meeting the other people that you're walking into breakfast? Like, what is that chain of events?
So the dynamic is like the groups that would walk in together, like how whoever you would walk in with, like that's who you were like hanging out in the room with all morning. And if
Mm.
you were if you were murdered, so like the morning that I was murdered, me and Rachel were in the room together. So I'm assuming Rachel walks into breakfast by herself, but me and Rachel were in the room together and they grabbed me and they don't even tell you where you're going. I remember like holding on to the showrunner and I was like, just tell me where
no.
you're walking. We were
Oh,
at like a
God.
really far away room in the castle. So, and the castle's so confusing. So I didn't know if we were walking to the MIV, which is like the master interview room, which is where you see us like sitting on the couch talking to the camera.
Mhm.
I didn't know if we were walking to breakfast or to that. And then sure enough, instead of bringing me to breakfast, they brought me to the MIV room and the letter was sitting on the chair.
Oh.
So yeah, so you're hanging out in a room and if you are murdered, you get pulled and walked to the MIV and then everybody else goes down to breakfast.
Jeez.
So when you got a letter for something, did you like, was that just like, if you got a letter that was bad news? Because
I mean,
like,
that was my experience with the letters because first I get a trial letter, then I get a
Right.
murdered letter.
because this
So-
was, I figured this was the answer, but I did have another question about this. Like when you got your love letter from the Traitors saying you were going on trial, did you automatically know it was going to be bad before you even opened it? Or did you think it might be good news? Like, was there ever a situation where anyone got a letter and it was like happy news? Or it was like, no, you get a letter that
says
means
hello.
this is bad. You get a letter, that's not a good thing.
So I don't know if I knew that when you were murdered, it was a letter that you received at the time of when I got the
Mhm.
trial letter. And obviously I got my trial letter first,
Mhm.
but I'm just always like a cup half full person. So initially like getting handed the letter, you're like anxious, but I didn't think it was going to be bad. I was just like anxious to read what it was, but I didn't think it was going to be bad. And then of course it
Yeah.
was. So so I go from being like what, one of 11 or 12 people able to be murdered. No, one of 11 people able to be murdered to one of 3. So
Yeah.
Right.
Terrible.
yeah, horrible.
Right. Wow. All right.
I know we've severely gone over. There's just a couple of questions from our friends that I want to throw out there. So
We
you
never actually
mentioned-
got to Tommy's either.
Yes, we did.
We should have talked about the podcast. We didn't even ask Tommy's question.
No, we sure didn't. We sure didn't. Well, this one's up first, so too late. So you mentioned having a journal in the castle. Did the show provide these journals, or did you bring one and hide it?
No, I had brought one. And I think we were
Fair.
allowed. I didn't have to hide it. I brought the same journal I had when I was in the UK for the circle.
Mm.
Nice.
And I don't know why I thought it'd be good luck because I never made it on the circle. But yeah, I have it with me. I just read it for the first time like an hour ago. And I'm very happy that I had it because I wanted to see, like watching it, I'm like, was I really not like playing the game like as much as what's being shown? And then I had my journal to confirm that I very much was.
No, I was in it. I feel good about me.
Yeah, I was there.
Yeah,
I mean, honestly,
I have all 3 Traitors in my journal.
right. Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
So you do, huh? So you knew. You knew.
And
Yeah, go
I
ahead.
feel like even just talking to you now too, like just knowing like we talked about how close you were with Azra. Now we've talked to, you've kind of shed some light on how close you were with Kate. Like things like that. Like we've talked a little bit about some of the relationships you formed in the house. So it's like it's very clear that you were definitely playing the game.
Mhm.
Like,
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
All we would do was talk game. Like, and I just feel like I mean, I don't think any of my game conversations were shown, not even once. You see me standing there, like I'm standing in the hallway with Kyle, Stephanie, and Cody, and they're talking game. I'm standing in the hallway with Kate and Azra, and they're talking game. Like, I just feel like you didn't see me play this game in that
Right.
sense.
yeah.
And I feel like that was part of a like half influencers and half non-influencers dynamic too.
Of course. But I just want to read. I wrote, so like I was talking about the day, and I wrote, I think Cody, Christian, and Quentin are traitors, missing a girl, blah, blah, blah. And then the next day I wrote, Suri is a traitor. And I spelled it Serie. Like, so I had a great.
Wow.
I love that.
Yeah, that is amazing. Yeah. That's amazing. Which is also fantastic because it does bring us into our last like friend question. If you were one of the traitors, like who would you have murdered first and why? So now that we've revealed that you actually knew who all three of them were, what would you have done first?
I mean, it's hard to say because I really feel that the decision to murder Reza first was a good one.
Okay.
I don't know. I feel like they made like as traitors and just being a faithful in the castle, like I knew how much like what they were trying to do, chaos and confusion, like how much it created. We were like, whoa, like no one's off limits. Like that was a crazy first murder.
It really was.
It was.
Like, and it really from there, and just the pattern just got more and more confusing. And then we did catch on, like me and Ari, very like I noticed that it got shown that Ari thought out the traitors' exact plan. Like, oh, they're murdering people who it is confirmed that they are faithfuls. Right. So I think to the first murder, I would still be on board and support with the Reza.
So Reza had no shot.
Yeah, if I was a traitor, I would totally be in support of that murder.
It was smart.
Sorry.
Smart. The traitors, they did a great job. I mean, the first traitor wasn't eliminated until more than halfway through the season. That's like they did a good job.
Did amazing.
Yeah,
did amazing.
I'm very happy that they didn't show my reaction to when Cody revealed himself as a traitor. I really like, even though I had it written down that I thought he was one, I sort of, and even to Christian, the night before I got murdered, I said outright to Christian, I know you're a traitor. Please don't murder me. Like, I won't say anything. Like, I don't know why.
I'll keep it to myself. I promise.
And then I'm sitting with Suri and I'm like, oh, fuck. Like, I'm really going to be murdered tomorrow. And then I'm like, unless I have the armory. Because, like, I thought I
just knew.
Yeah. Suri was a traitor. And so I caught myself. I was like, oh, I got to play it up. Like, I have this armory. That is
That is so fantastic. I'm also a liar. It was not the last fan question, but this is. We know you're familiar with Big. So, in terms of game, do you prefer Big Brother or Survivor?
In terms of like the players that I was on with, or like what I want to watch?
I actually don't know the intention of this question, but I'm actually intrigued by both answers because I think that they are very, very different answers. Like, what do you enjoy watching, and what would you want to play? Like,
I enjoy watching Big Brother for sure.
Hell yeah.
Numerous times to get into Survivor. My fiance watches it. Obviously, Uncle Phil and Thomas watch it. I'm just not into it. I'm on my phone a lot when it's on TV.
Wow.
But Big Brother, I'm obsessed with. I love. So yeah, for sure, prefer Big Brother to watch.
Would you hang out with us one night? We like to be live for Big Brother.
Yes,
and like, live afterwards, because we like to get a snack. and then maybe get a glass of wine or something like that. You want to hang out with us one night?
Yes, and I'm sure Thomas and Uncle Phil would too, if that would be okay.
That would be more than okay.
Restream allows for 10, so the more the merrier.
Great.
Now that we know that Uncle Phil is real and he's not a troll, Uncle Phil was invited.
Oh my gosh! Yeah, I'm sure they would love to do that. So just let us know.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Oh, that's amazing.
If you get your
literally anytime,
come on for BB Can. Have you watched Big Brother Canada?
Yeah, BB Canada is so good.
It's so good. I watched they did the sequester with the Canadian
the
players.
sequester minis.
And I watched that, and I loved the players that were from Canada that were on that. So I'd totally be into watching BB Can.
It's really
we'll
good.
keep in touch.
Yeah.
If you get your VPN in order in time, we're definitely doing Big Brother Canada again.
Oh no, I'm gonna get it in order tonight. I need to start this UK version. I need to start it.
You have to see it. We stand Theo. We being me, because I don't think anybody else cares. But like, I love Theo, and I loved a lot of the people on that season too. Like, I think you'll enjoy
they were
it.
good.
And the gameplay was definitely different because again, you didn't have like these other like reality TV celebrities coming in. So these are all people coming on the same level of knowledge, level of notoriety, as you would say. So like, it was a whole dynamic that was missing that made this. I don't want to say more interesting, but equally interesting, because it was interesting to kind of see how you guys navigated through that too. So yeah, it was different but the same and very enjoyable.
Kate, like I said, I loved playing the game with the reality stars, but now watching it back, like you really didn't get to see like even 10% of really game-wise what went on in that castle. And so that's why I think, and I do think that is because we had the reality stars on. So now being out, I do wish it was all, but I don't, obviously everything happens for a reason. And I love the relationships I made. Like, we
don't begrudge them. However,
and also the like 10 episode thing, like Kate was like, I'm so sorry. I feel like the 10 episode drop like took away from your experience on this, because it's fun when it's weekly and you have it to look forward to and you have it to talk about. And like,
even just from like a fandom standpoint, being like, oh, and what do you think is going to happen next? And where could it go from here? And what's the strategy moving forward?
100%. So
that's even why we split it up as a podcast. We were like, oh, let's just split this so we can like kind of live with it for a little while, like have some fun and talk about it. Because like a 10 episode drop is a little too fast.
I thought for sure they were gonna do like a Netflix style, like 3-3. But
that would have been so much more enjoyable.
Well,
we'll hold hope for season 2.
Well, the last thing that I'll say is that I am actually happy that instead of being banished, you were murdered, because I feel like if you were banished, I don't know if I could have taken a banishment of all these people saying your name and voting you out. But I feel like with at least with a murder, it was like, okay, the murderers saw you as like somebody they needed to get out. You were a threat, so like they sent you out. But like, I couldn't have taken a banishment of just everybody around the round table saying Angelica, Angelica, Angelica. So that's why.
It was like day 2, and Brandy pulls me in the room and she's like, okay, she's like, I don't want to be the one to tell you this, but I also have to be the one to tell you this. She's like, a lot of people are saying you're a traitor. I like couldn't even like function. I can't imagine at a banishment roundtable if people were trying to say that I was a traitor, but I just feel like at a point it got so apparent that I was a faithful that like everybody was just like, yeah, okay, like I don't think that anymore. So I'm happy that I was able to like prove my faithfulness and like come off as somebody who was like authentically like playing the game as a faithful. And I really do feel like my other castmates saw that in me. So everyone was just everyone initially thought I was a traitor because day 1 I was very like not myself. I wasn't myself this day 1 of filming. I was very like just taking it all in, like trying to
It's a lot.
but it's like a lot of emotions. I didn't know the reality stars were going to be on with us. So it was just a lot going on. And then day 2, I came in very much myself. So everyone was like, oh, like what changed? Yeah, but I proved my faithfulness.
I had a good night's sleep. That's what changed. I got to take it all in. Now I'm ready to go. I got my journal. Like, I'm ready to go.
I got snacks. Yeah. I'm all set.
Exactly. I'm well fed. So good.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, listen, I don't have anything else. Does anyone else?
Yeah.
I don't want to cut anybody off. We are like 30 minutes over what we said.
I will say one more time. We still didn't ask Tommy's question, but we answered Tommy's question. So we didn't completely ignore Tommy because we still got to the talking point anyway.
Yikes.
What did he ask?
Well, he wanted to know who you thought the traitors were.
But clearly, you thought the traitors were the traitors. So.
Yep.
Yeah,
There were
so
some other people I
she
had.
nailed it.
Well, Quentin, I was wrong about.
I know, but right after that, you said
Yeah.
Suri.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
So,
And then
I
the
mean,
next day, I wrote Suri is a traitor. Yep.
right. I mean, like in a game that everything happens daily,
Mm-hmm.
correcting your thing to the correct person the
Right.
next day is not bad.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
awesome.
I mean, it wasn't all me. I did have the influence of Brandy. She had all the traitors correct. She
like day 2 had
Yeah.
all the names done.
Randy
We
was
talked about that too.
really
I don't
dialed
think
in.
they
Yes,
showed
she
her.
was.
I don't think they showed her saying Cody. Did they? But she
There
very
was one person she didn't show, but there were 2 names that she said and one she didn't. I
She
don't remember
Well,
what
she
it
did
was.
mention Cody at some point. At some point, she did. Yeah.
Yeah.
She focused on that the traitors were Christian, Suri, and Michael. But
Mhm.
she was always saying 4 names, and it was Christian, Suri, Michael, and Cody. And she didn't know between Michael and Cody. But then eventually was like, we got close with Cody. So it was just like, we can use him even if he is a traitor. Let's focus on Michael.
Yeah.
So Brandy really, really
It was
nailed
wild how quickly she figured that out.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She needed to go when she did.
Yeah.
I would also have been curious to see if this was edited a little bit differently. I can't wait for you to see the UK version because their episodes are a little longer than ours. The Australian version is a little longer than ours. So you get a lot more at that round table, and that does make that a little bit more interesting. And I wonder if we would have seen more of Brandy's insight in an edit that went that way. Yeah, I would love to pick your brain a little bit after you've watched some of the other ones to see what you thought in comparison.
Yeah, I'm literally going to start tonight. So
I can't wait.
Amazing.
I can't wait to know what you think. I love it.
Yeah.
Does anybody else have anything else for Miss Angelica?
No.
I think that's all I got.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Oh my God, you're amazing.
Here.
Yeah.
You're
amazing.
I had a great time. Thank you so much for having me. I loved this.
Thank you so much for joining us. We're going to play a little credits. We'll say goodbye and all that, but just stay on for just another 30 seconds or so we can give you that website where you can watch the Australian version of the Traitors. Sans commercials and such. But if there is nothing else, we are Strat Chat. You can find us at Strat Chat Pod on the socials or at our website at stratchatpod.com. Again, obviously, we thank you, Angelica, so much for spending this time with us. It's such a random time, a Monday at 7 p.m., but thank you for making it work. Thank you so much. This has been an absolute blast, so thank you.
Thank you guys so much. I had so much fun.
This has been a blast. Thank you all. Thank you.